and welcome to Nay's Little Garden. So today we're going to talk about my top squash. Now, I'm going to give you my top 3 squash. However, I do want to inform you that this does not mean I did not like any other squash I grew and that I won't grow any of the squash I didn't happen to grow this year. That's not true. That's false information. I have a bunch of squash in my handy dandy squash collection. What did I just do with the pocket test squash? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm talking about these top 3 because they showed up and they showed out. But I will also be still growing more squash next year. I did not. And yes, I'm gonna let you guys have this on video, me saying this. I did not space properly. The trellis I have is not enough trellis for the sheer amount of produce I was trying to grow on said trellis. So some things failed just due to sheer natural selection. So long story short, if a squash grows fast, that one survived. If a squash did not grow fast, it might have been shaded out and didn't make it, and or made it much later on in the game and we're just starting to harvest that stuff. So let's hop, skip, jump right into it. So there are 2 squash that didn't come to play this fine year, okay? 2 of them are insane, okay? In both size and flavor. Let's talk about this. So the first one I'm going to talk about, I don't want to number these 1 or 2 because they're fabulous for different reasons and similar reasons. So this is from the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. This is it's a winter squash, the Cherokee Candy Roaster. I need everybody to just go ahead and go to anativeseeds.com and just go purchase these. The squash is like so. It's the size of a toddler, and it's thick like this in the thickest part, and it tapers down. And it is, I wouldn't say it's uber sweet, but there's a sweetness to it. It gets like a creamy, pinky orange, slightly orange flesh to it. And it is prolific to say the least. So I have I think currently 2 or 3 squash downstairs, and then 1 in the freezer because I harvested it too early. Although it's still edible, I did end up accidentally harvesting it too early. Or maybe not, I didn't harvest it too early. I didn't let it sit out for 2 weeks before I cut into it. I cut into it the day I harvested it. Versus the second one I cut into was very orangey and a slightly different flavoring. But it's insane. That thing trellised so fast, put on so many different buds, and I'm looking to the side here because I'm looking to my backyard. There are, I think, 3 or 4 more still on my trellis of that. One of these squash is gonna feed a family of 5, 2 to 4 times, depending on what other sides or main course stuff that you're gonna add to this. A family of 5. Okay, so that's insane. So I love that. I'm not gonna say I have 0 vine borer issues or whatever. I actually saw some certain bug that I haven't seen before because this is like my 3rd year growing, right? So the bugs are like, oh, there's stuff here. Nothing, it didn't do anything to them. And watching the big squash, like, lay across the top or hang down from the side of the trellis was beautiful. I felt 0 need to get stocking or netting to try to hold it up. The vine of it is more than strong enough to hold it by itself, which I think is also important. And even the way that some of them came up, like I said, it's laying across the top of the trellis. when you cut those down, if there could be maybe a slight indentation, but it's nothing that I think is going to mess with the longevity of the squash. Obviously, I'll let you know, but the rind had, like, the exterior hardened enough, the finger can't pierce through it without, like, unless obviously putting serious pressure on it. I would say, for me personally, I do prefer it ripened completely. The reason why I'm saying that is because this next one can go either way. This is the Tromboncino. This is the summer squash versus this one's a winter squash, but you can make this a winter squash. This is I've heard people say Tromboncino. I'm gonna say Tromboncino, so I'm not sure. This is what this look like. This is the longest squash I've ever seen in my life. It is very long. Now, I know some people will say you need to make sure you trellis this so it comes out long and straight, like these pictures. And whilst I did harvest a few of those as well, I've also harvested them all twist up and shape, and the taste is no different. The coloring of it gets to the same color, so I think it'll store the same. I don't really feel like the cutting of it is any more difficult, because the size of my cutting board, I have to chop it up in smaller pieces to get to it anyway. So I wouldn't really, I mean, trellising it off the ground, I do think makes it easier and less concerning about rot or animals getting to it, but I really haven't had any issues with it. I have like 6 more of these Tromboncino squash growing right now. One of these is gonna feed your family like 4 to 7 times, depending on the sides and if there's any other main dishes that go with it. This is also something, I haven't actually used this as a summer squash. I'm literally only using them for the winter squash capabilities. And so I can only tell you, it is, this one's actually a little bit, it's so hard because I really don't eat anything without sweetening it. So I do add maple syrup to both. But I did feel like perhaps this was slightly sweeter, although this one's called the Cherokee Candy Roaster. Obviously, as it sits in my storage, it's probably the sugars and stuff is gonna probably get even sweeter, which I'm very excited for. But these are very large. Like, I wanna say, like, I have them, a lot of them on average come to like here on me around, which is insane. And so this is from Soul Right Seeds, but this is one I've heard a lot more people talk. I've heard some people talk both of these. So I do think that there's other brands, businesses that sell these same seeds. So you can go ahead and just look. But I got this from Soul Right Seeds, and I got this from the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. So do what you can, what you will with that. These have been my top. I made the, I don't know if I want to say mistake, but I made the unfortunate decision of putting tomatoes on that trellis as well. And while I have been swimming in tomatoes, I mean, I have tomatoes all over my garden. I don't think I will do that again. If I do, it will just be 1 or 2 max tomatoes. Honestly, probably only 1, if not none, because it did shade. Tomatoes grow so fast. It shaded out some other squash that I think would have done a lot of good, but didn't get the opportunity because the tomatoes shaded it out from the sun, right? So what I'm going to talk about now, it's not really a squash, it's a pumpkin, but I'm putting this within the squash because I really didn't grow a bunch of pumpkin. This is the Long Island cheese pumpkin. This is the only other, I'm gonna give an honorable mention. So I don't want to say the only other one, but this is one that produced stuff. So I have one that I just harvested and another one growing on here. And I know for a fact this got shaded out by the Tromboncino squash and tomato, because that's where I planted it, is right in between the Tromboncino and some tomatoes. And it took longer to be able to vine up because it was growing with a lot less sun. And so the fact that it even managed to come out with these, I'm impressed. It didn't also, I didn't feel like it needed trellising either. And this is, they say it resembles a wheel of cheese with its creamy white skin and dramatic ribbing. One of the longer storing varieties. These fruits can store for 90 to 100 days. Now, with only 2 in my repertoire, right, one right now and another one on its way to ripening, am I going to keep this for 100 days? just to see. Probably not this year. I'm gonna next year, like I said, give it a better opportunity to grow. So hopefully I'll get like 4 to 6. Excuse me. And then I'll be able to have 2 for fall and maybe have 2 for winter. But the fact that it stores, right, that was the purpose of me growing these squash, because I'm not canning. The idea was to can, just to attempt to can this year. The garden exploded and I'm not upset. I'm very happy, but I was very overwhelmed this garden season, oh my goodness, this garden season. And I ended up not being able to purchase the canner and all this other stuff and whatever. Now, that is not me saying I'm never gonna can. I do think my end goal is to get comfortable enough to spend that money to go get the canner and then to can. Because obviously now if you lose power, now what? Now, I'm not here to fearmonger anybody though and act like just because you don't want to can, you shouldn't even waste your time growing produce. Many people don't lose power in the colder months, or if they lose power, it's not long enough for produce to go bad. So seeds are so cheap still currently that it's okay to try, because you don't want to have an all or nothing mindset, because oftentimes that all or nothing mindset ends up meaning nothing. So go ahead and grow your produce. Stuff like this will mean that you don't have to do some type of storing thing outside of leaving them to just, develop, and then storing them. Oh, is it called curing? Excuse me. Leaving them out to cure and then storing them, and then they should store at least about the 2 to 6 month process, the 2 to 6 month span, excuse me. So that's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, these are the 3 I would definitely for sure recommend. This doesn't have. So the Candy Roaster squash is saying the days to harvest is 100 to 110 days. The Long Island cheese is 90 to 110 days. The summer squash doesn't have anything to let me know. But I'm gonna say it's around the same as these. So with the winter squashes and the pumpkins, you want to store and stuff, are definitely longer days, much longer. You're gonna have to wait. If you want to be harvesting stuff to consume during the summer, you most definitely are going to need to grow other stuff as well. And there are other summer squashes. There's an honorable mention I wanted to discuss really quick. So I'm taking a guess, because I planted out 2 squash in the garden, and 2 butternut squashes, excuse me, in my garden, and I'm not 1,000% sure which one is which. I'm going off of the look of the squash more than anything. So I did get 1 honey nut squash, and then I have another honey nut squash in the garden. That's fine. But the butternut squash I'm talking about, I think is the Waltham butternut squash, or it's the one from Johnny's that I got, which is their hybrid squash. But I really think it's this, just because of the look of this one. It looks like this. This is another one where I feel like got shaded out, so it didn't get to grow as many as it probably could have. But I had the butternut squash and it was absolutely delicious, and I'll probably always grow butternut squash. So the Johnny's one or this one, but I really, like I said, I really think it was this and my Gardener Waltham butternut squash. She pulled through in the end. This is another 3 to 6 months storage capacity. Tan fruits grow 8 to 10 inches long, thick with deep orange interior, sweet, creamy, and flavorful. Delicious steamed, boiled, or baked. I love taking a butternut squash, cutting it in half, scooping out the seeds, seasoning with Ceylon cinnamon, a little bit of salt, pepper, maple syrup. I might even sprinkle just a pinch of like brown sugar on it, and then like some garlic powder, and putting that in the oven thing, letting that cook down. And I give 1/2 to myself, 1/2 to my husband, and put a little side of vegetables or something. And it's a whole meal. Like, it's very filling. Cutting that in half, it will fill one adult with the side, right? And I'm interested in also possibly doing is cutting it, scooping out some of the meat after the meat cooks down, and like mashing it a little bit and then putting meat on top of that, like a boat, like a little food boat. And I think that's really good. My husband eats the skin off of his butternut squash. I'm not there yet. Most of the time he will eat my skin too, because I just scrape it out of in there. But I think that the skin, at least he eats, and he hasn't collapsed yet, so it's edible, I'm gonna say. But yeah, so that's that butternut squash is what I just wanted to say. But the Waltham butternut squash is one that I think is quite popular, so it's not telling you anything brand new. I just want to say I also had success. And oh, I'm in zone 6. I feel like it depends what website I go to, whether it says A or B, but I'm in zone 6. I live in the East Coast, so I'm in Jersey. So we get hot summers with very long days and cold winters with very short fall days. Like the day gets so short in fall that at one point I feel like it gets dark before you leave work. Like if you finish like at 4 or 5, it's dark at some point in the time. So I'm just letting you know that's just how my seasons go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this whole video, or even if it's just a portion of it. Let me know down in the comment section what are some of the squashes that you grew this year that grew well for you. And also I'd be interested in knowing some squashes that you want to grow next year. One of them is, I feel like I'm struggling to look for something. Give me 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. I was like, what did I do with this? So the sweet meat, originally I thought the Long Island cheese that I had harvested was this, which is the sweet meat squash. I'm definitely gonna grow this next year. This is another one that has a 2 to 4 month storage without doing anything to it. I tried to grow the Table King acorn squash. Like I said, I think this also got beat out. But this is from M.I. Gardner. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and grow this next year, as well as the sweet dumpling squash. This is another one that has a 2 to 4 month expectancy for storage, which is great. So these are 3 that I'll probably most definitely add to the 4 that I talked to you guys about. So I'll be growing 6. And the reason why I'm even offering those up to myself is because I fully intend to add a smaller, so my current one is it 8 foot by 4 foot, right? So I have an 8 foot by 4 foot, 2 raised beds, and then I put the trellis here. I'll probably get like a 4 foot or 5 foot, whatever I can get, raised beds to put on the side of where my opening for my door is for my fence, and then put a trellis over that, so it'll only get 1 cattle panel trellis, so that I can grow 2. I think what would make sense for that, because it's half that, right, would be 2 on each side, so that the stuff can grow around each other, and that would be it. Because I think I just grew too much, which is fine. And I have so many other things here too. The Gills Pippin squash is eventually going to be grown. Okay, this is the Waltham butternut squash I was telling you about from M.I. Gardner. I just got a Homestead collection version of it, which is just much more seeds. And you just take time with your seeds. I have a spaghetti squash. I have so many options here. So I honestly my mind could honestly change. I really wanted to grow a loofah gourd this year. I don't know what happened to it. It must have also gotten beaten out by this other squash, because I wanted the loofahs. But if I have to make a choice, eating versus getting the stuff to clean myself, I will just buy that cleaning stuff and make sure I have the good produce, you know? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this whole video. Bye bye.